Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars franchise seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about their new Star Wars trilogy of films, and even their new Star Wars TV shows that are currently in the works on Disney+, be it animated or live-action form by Bob Iger and Bob Chapek. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are heading in a more positive direction for the franchise and that they're really trying to reunite the Star Wars fandom. That's one major deal that they're really trying to complete here, is that they really want to make the Star Wars fandom the way it used to be before the sequel trilogy even arrived, where there was no big division, there was no big problems within Star Wars. You know, let's not forget that it was Kathleen Kennedy who made so many endless promises to George Lucas about respecting the characters and how she did not keep those promises that also, caused a lot of division between fans. Now, when we go ahead and take a look at what's happening with Lucasfilm, we do know that Iger and Chapek are making drastic changes behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm to really ensure that Star Wars can really stay on track to become a successful franchise. Now, The Mandalorian Season 2, let me just say, they did an excellent job with Episode 1. I think that, obviously, it's a step up from Season 1. They're really moving in the right direction with this new universe with Season 2, and they're also planning the Season 3 and Season 4 of The Mandalorian. That's really going to pick up more on the Jedi and more bounty hunters coming to play here, but I digress. What's really intriguing all has to do with the Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, and, of course, what's actually happening with some of the Star Wars movies and TV shows that were initiated by Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. Now, specifically, of course, with the Skywalker saga now over, both Disney and Lucasfilm are focused on their new Star Wars universe, as well as their new Star Wars trilogy of movies that are currently in the early development phase. It's explained that both Bob Iger and Chapek are actively working on developing major plans to reunite the Star Wars fans around the world in order to create a better future for Star Wars overall. Now, it's explained that as of right now, both Disney and Lucasfilm are actively working on the future of Star Wars. However, it's noted that Disney CEO Bob Iger and Bob Chapek recently canceled a set of Star Wars films and TV shows that were going to destroy the franchise in a very big way for the fans, that would have been catastrophic to the franchise. It's explained that recently Chapek and Iger just finalized the cancellation of the Star Wars Old Republic films and TV shows that Kathleen Kennedy was actively working on some time ago, where she was going to destroy the philosophy by George Lucas. Kennedy's version of the Old Republic era was only going to take place hundreds of years before the High Republic era, instead of thousands of years before Episode 1, like how it was in Star Wars Legends, and that Kennedy was ready to gender swap many of the popular Star Wars Legends characters like Darth Revan in the films and TV shows. Let me stop right here for a second, is that the Old Republic, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that era of Star Wars, but it is fantastic. I do suggest that you guys go ahead and check out the cinematic cutscenes from the video game back in the mid-2000s. Amazing sequences that you could actually see have a lot of potential in the form of live action and animated form by Disney, but not under Kathleen Kennedy. Obviously, anything under Kathleen Kennedy, it goes in a horrible direction. There's no denying this. Some of you guys out there may disagree, but the majority agrees that Kathleen Kennedy was not fit well for Star Wars. So when we go ahead and take a closer look at everything that there was with the Old Republic movies and TV shows by Kathleen Kennedy, that Bob Chapek and Iger recently canceled those movies and TV shows, obviously a great move, a fantastic move on their part to really prevent her from destroying major characters like Darth Revan as an example, or other characters out there like Darth Malgus and others that so many fans love that grew up with the video games, right? So when we look at Kathleen Kennedy, we obviously know that she's very much agenda-driven when it comes to Star Wars. She loves focusing on agendas. And that's her overall stance on Star Wars, is that she believes that it's the vessel, if you will, to promote activism. And that's obviously something that a lot of Star Wars fans do not want to see. Now, the Old Republic era, like I said before, originally took place thousands of years before Episode 1. Kathleen Kennedy wanted to change it to hundreds of years before Episode 1, which in my opinion wouldn't make all that much sense historically speaking between the Jedi and the Sith. So, moving on past this, alright, this is the main reason as to why Chapek canceled those shows and films that were being developed by Kathleen Kennedy. This was best described to be Kathleen Kennedy's main Star Wars projects that she was working on in order to make her own new Star Wars universe that would shift away from the sequel trilogy movies. Her version of the Old Republic was also going to be very politically correct and would fall into identity politics at the end of the day in order to follow her own agenda in the Star Wars universe. George Lucas was also very unhappy with Kathleen Kennedy and how she was treating the beloved era by the hardcore Star Wars fans around the world. Now, the new series and movies were going to interconnect with each other, and that Kennedy even had director Rian Johnson, of all people, lined up to direct a handful of episodes for the Old Republic TV series before it got canceled. Just let that sink in for a moment there, is that Kathleen Kennedy went so far to include Rian Johnson on a handful of episodes for the Old Republic era. Now, mind you, there are a lot of fans out there that like Rian Johnson. That's fine and all. People have their own opinions. That's perfectly fine. That's a part of being human at the end of the day. It is. The thing that I had a problem with when it came to The Last Jedi is how Rian Johnson deliberately, from what it seems, destroyed the character of Luke Skywalker and just put him to the wayside and wanted little to nothing to do with that character on a more positive note. Now, Rian Johnson obviously did not know Star Wars at its heart. If he did, I think that a lot of fans would have been more, I guess you could say, appreciative of The Last Jedi and how it turned out. Obviously, most Star Wars fans would disagree and say that the movie is horrible, and which, in my opinion, it is. But overall, guys, I think that we are still on the right track here, given that Bob Chapek is taking a lot of responsibility. He is really trying his absolute best to build Star Wars from the ground up. I mean, here we are. This is a phase in which we actually have to watch Disney building Star Wars from the ground up. It was already up there when The Force Awakens came out, but ever since the sequel trilogy progressed, it just had a constant decline. Many Star Wars fans getting very much unattracted to Star Wars, walking away, not feeling all that gravitated toward the franchise, right? So, moving on past this, alright, this was Disney's overall way to prevent Kathleen Kennedy from making an even bigger problem and mistake within the Star Wars fandom than before, as this would have created more backlash than what happened with The Last Jedi as a movie, in which, yes, this would have definitely created more backlash, far larger than The Last Jedi, at least in my opinion as well. Kathleen Kennedy is described to no longer have any control over that era of Star Wars, and that George Lucas is making his own new Star Wars TV series based around the Old Republic era of Star Wars in order to give fans a more associated Star Wars era that's actually connected to the video games and the books from Star Wars Legends. So once again, here we have George Lucas helping out to bring back many of the beloved eras of Star Wars Legends that we never really got to see by Disney so far, right? So far we got the sequel trilogy. It's not all that great in my opinion. I mean, it has its moments, just like the prequel trilogy. A lot of fans had problems with the prequel trilogy, but to me, in every trilogy, they have their moments. I actually like the prequels for what they are. Is it my favorite trilogy? No, not in any way. I think that the originals are the best that you can really get out of Star Wars. That's really where it all started. That, I believe, is the most authentic form of Star Wars. Now, Kathleen Kennedy is described to actually be very angry over Chapek's decision to cut Kennedy from the Old Republic era of Star Wars, as she saw this as a massive moneymaker for Disney and Lucasfilm in order to make Star Wars as successful as possible. However, even Bob Iger did not agree with Kathleen Kennedy's stance on Star Wars. So let that sink in also for there. Even Bob Iger, of all people, did not agree with Kennedy at the time of her take on the Old Republic era of the franchise. So Like I said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night to moon.